Then there is a motor area. First of all, this motor area controls what? Fine touch, the temperature, the pain of the opposite half of the body. But there are some axial muscles that is controlled by the motor area of the same side. That sometimes this point must be clear. The same side. Suppose this is the right side. This is the right cerebral hemisphere. This is the anterior. This is the posterior, and cerebellum is here. So this is the right motor area. So right side of some axial muscles will be regulated by this motor area, not the contralateral, isn't it? So this is also the difference, exception to this rule. Now all of you have cleared the sensory, visual and the auditory agnosia, the language aspect. Now come to a very important surface here that I will show you all. This is the what? The inferior surface of the brain. Okay, this is the inferior surface of the brain. The last class we have not discussed the inferior aspect. So this is the orbital surface, this one, and this is the tentorial surface. So on the orbital surface, what is there? What are the important structures here that you will have to see on the orbital surface here? Anyone? Look here. Yes, a very important running antero-posteriorly sulcus just lateral to this median sagittal fissure. This is the olfactory sulcus. What it is? Olfactory sulcus, isn't it? So this sulcus, it is known as the olfactory sulcus because it lodges what? Olfactory bulb as well as the olfactory tract, isn't it? Yes or no? Tell me. And what would be the blood supply here? From the previous classes, let me know. What would be the blood supply? The medial aspect of the orbital surface is here.
Anterior cerebral artery.
Very good. The anterior cerebral artery. Very good. And the lateral aspect, it is supplied by the middle cerebral artery. Very nice. So, a running antero-posterior sulcus known as the olfactory sulcus, either side, this is the which lodges the olfactory bulb here and posteriorly the olfactory tract. Now, another sulcus which is present on the orbital surface, it is an H-shaped sulcus here, isn't it? H-shaped sulcus which divides the whole of the orbital gyra in the medial, the anterior, the lateral as well as the posterior. Okay, the H-shaped sulcus here. So there are two sulcus very important on the orbital surface, that is the anterior aspect of the inferior surface of the brain here. So olfactory surface, it is important for what? It is important for which pathway? You have to discuss here, that is the olfactory pathway. You student, let me clear that olfactory pathway, it is neglected by the students many times. 80% students think it is not important, but sometimes in the viva, the olfactory, because don't forget it, this is the first cranial nerve. Olfactory nerve, it is the first cranial nerve. There is so much popularity of this cranial nerve. We will discuss right now. So, H-shaped sulcus is present here and which divides the medial, the lateral, anterior and the posterior orbital gyra. Then posterior to that there is, look here, on this tentorial surface here. Look here, on this tentorial surface you will see two antero-posteriorly running sulcus. The medial-most sulcus which is running antero-posteriorly, it is known as what? It is known as the collateral sulcus or the medial occipito-temporal sulcus, and this is the lateral occipito-temporal sulcus, isn't it? So, how many gyri will be formed now? By the presence of these two sulci on this tentorial surface, there is the medial, the middle and the lateral. The medial-most one, the medial-most gyrus, it is very, very important here. Look properly. See, this is the collateral sulcus. Okay, and the medial to that, this is the what? One of the gyrus which is known as what? Parahippocampal gyrus. A very very important gyrus which is related to which chapter you will deal of neuroanatomy? Limbic system. Limbic system, a very very important as well as difficult topic also. But there is no difficulty if you will read it properly. So, parahippocampal gyrus it is on the medial aspect of the collateral sulcus, and this parahippocampal gyrus, anterior end of that there is a hook-like gyrus. Look here, there is a hook-like gyrus. This one, this gyrus, it is known as the uncus. This gyrus, on the anterior end of this parahippocampal gyrus, there is a hook-like. This like a gyrus which is known as the uncinate gyrus. Isn't it? What it is? It is the uncinate process, and what is the blood supply of that? Blood supply of that? Middle or posterior cerebral artery? Anterior to the uncinate process, the pole of the temporal lobe was supplied by, just recall the, yes, this was supplied by the middle cerebral artery, and the rest of it was supplied by the posterior cerebral artery, isn't it? So, then what is the importance of this? Is the parahippocampal gyrus. And look here, on the medial surface, this is the C-shaped structure. The C-shaped structure, what it is? It is the largest commissural fiber, that is the corpus callosum. Okay, and posterior to that, posterior to the corpus callosum, which part is this? Which part of corpus callosum it is? Splenium. It is the widest part of the corpus callosum present posteriorly. Okay, so just below that there is a part of the gyri which is known as the isthmus. What it is known as? Isthmus, which connects the cingulate gyrus here. Which gyrus is this? We have discussed in the previous class. The gyrus which lies between, this was the callosal sulcus and this was the supracallosal cingulate sulcus, or you can say the cingulate sulcus. So this is the cingulate gyrus here. So cingulate gyrus, via this isthmus, it is, look here, via this isthmus, the cingulate gyrus, it is continued on the inferior surface with the parahippocampal gyrus. So there is an area, a limbic lobe is there. A limbic lobe, a ring-shaped area around the upper end of the brainstem, with the areas, the cortical as well as the subcortical area, which is participating in the formation of the limbic system. The limbic system which is responsible for the personality of a person. So it is this cingulate gyrus here. You will remember this cingulate gyrus when you will read the limbic system here, and via this isthmus, this gyrus, it is continuous with the parahippocampal. Look here, it will be continued with the parahippocampal gyrus. So the two gyrus are on two other surfaces. Parahippocampal gyrus, it is on the inferior surface, and the cingulate gyrus, it is present on the medial surface. Okay, so it is forming a ring along with the paraterminal gyrus, and it will form a ring-like structure around the upper end of the brainstem, that is the limbic lobe, and it participates in the limbic formation. So it was very important. The cingulate gyrus, the isthmus, and lingual gyrus, it is present here. This is the cuneus, this is the precuneus, this is the paracentral lobule, this is the supplementary area, and this is the medial frontal gyrus. This is the cingulate gyrus. Now, one more important thing. On the medial aspect, this is what? A sheet-like structure which is present in between the corpus callosum and this fornix. This is the fornix and this is the corpus callosum. A sheet it is present here which is connecting between the two structures. What it is known as? Septum pellucidum. Septum pellucidum. This will be asked in Viva. Okay. So what it is a structure, double layered structure. It is not a single layer, it is a double layer made up of neuronal structures, and it is important, it forms the medial boundary of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Okay, behind that there is a lateral ventricle of which part? This is the right cerebral, the right side of the right lateral ventricle. If it is left cerebral hemisphere, then the left cerebral. So it forms the partition between the two ventricles, lateral ventricles. Now what is this? This is the fornix. Fornix, it is a structure. Which type of structures? It is an efferent fibers. Efferent fibers. And it is where it is she-shaped structure, and this is the thalamus, and here it is the hypothalamus, and it is the hypothalamic sulcus. This is what? This is the hypothalamic sulcus. This is the thalamus, and here it is the hypothalamus. So the fornix. What is the fornix? Anyone? I am saying all these structure because you must remember this nomenclature in your mind. In which chapter we have to read this fornix? Suppose you are asked limbic system, okay, hippocampal formation. Then you must be acquainted with these structures where it is present. Then you will be able to understand how it participates, how it is helping in their function properly. Okay. So anyone, what is fornix? Efferent fibers of? Yes, very good. Hippocampal formation. Again, it is one of the component of the limbic system. So hippocampal formation. Okay, a very important part of the limbic hippocampal formation. It is the efferent fibers of the hippocampal formation. Okay, so you have to remember this fornix.